Oh, you missed
Okay,
it.
Because
so
he's
speaking,
fed up with these
okay,
two. Like he doesn't have. I don't have to put up with you two. Like that's
you
the
don't have
beauty
to
of
put up with us.
electronic communication. It's like you're not here in person.
You're not
Bye
here in
bye.
person. We can't follow you.
And that is true friendship. Welcome to the Power of Bourbon. Welcome to this episode of Power of Bourbon, the part 3 of our barrel series. Thanks to Chuck, and just to, tick Ed off just a little bit because it's fun. Tonight we are trying Barrel Batch 28 until I finally give Chuck Barrel Batch 29 and he sends us samples of those. So Barrel Batch 28 is a 10-year bourbon, meaning the youngest bourbon in it is 10 years. As with everything with barrel, I'm sure it's got older bourbon in it also. I'm also going to take a wild guess and say it's from Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee.
Wait for it. Yes.
Yeah, woohoo! I've learned this. But the great
28
thing,
for 28.
the great thing about barrel is it's going to taste completely different than any of the other batches because they blend it, they change the profile, everything like that. That is why Chuck keeps going back to it because we haven't had a bad one yet. So until we have a bad one, he, by rule, has to keep buying them. Brian and I definitely can't afford to do that. So it's great. We just get to try it. So we'll let you know what we think.
And judging by that bottle, he's come back to this one a couple times, it looks like.
It looks
and
like
this is the newest batch, too, yeah.
He's been drinking it a lot.
It's just a Friday night pour.
I know.
The nose on this is great.
Other days of the week.
Yeah, the nose is amazing. This is.
I'm just going to right out of the gate. The nose, I feel like it's very fruit and sweet forward. You don't have to search for it. It just comes at you.
Yep.
Strong fruit.
Still
what's
get a
the
lot of
sweetness
apple
in
pear.
that you guys are getting?
Yeah, the apple pear, a little bit of honey in the background, some vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla and honey. It's probably a good description.
On the palate, I get a ton of honey, actually. It's also one that definitely coats, I wouldn't say all the mouth. It's definitely coats the tongue. It doesn't really get the jawline like some of the bourbons do. But yeah, a lot of honey on the palate. And then in the finish, you get some of the nice pepper notes. I'd say some of the barrel spice and things like that. And a little bit of ethanol.
Less oily overall. I think that's a good way to look at that. I wasn't initially thinking about as far as the level of coating of the mouth, but it is a little bit less for sure.
Viscous.
For me, this one is just enjoyable start to finish. Nothing too overpowering, I think, at any level. And this is something I think you could give to anyone. You could give this to someone who is a experienced bourbon drinker, and they're going to pick out some of the nuances that this offers and enjoy it. At the same point, if you want to give someone new to the bourbon game something nice, this is something I feel like they would actually be able to handle. And when you talk about, hey, pick something up on the nose, they'd be able to pick stuff out, pick stuff on the palate, on the finish. Even kind of the novice bourbon drinker would be able to pick some of the things out that this has to offer.
Palate going into the finish to me is almost like it's an apple turnover. That then the finish isn't too heavy on it as far as the spice. You get this nice, like as TJ says, it doesn't cook them out too much. It's really just dances on the tongue, but stays there. Like it doesn't leave you super fast.
It's something unique on the finish with this one. I feel like the fruit lingers on the finish for a while, which usually any of that sweetness and fruit a lot of times is on the finish, it dies off. The pepper, the ethanol, the cinnamon, or something else overpowers that quite a bit. As to where on this, I feel like you really have that. A lot of the palate flavors continue into the finish.
Yeah, so if you like a lot of Irish whiskey, so Redbreast 12, 15, things like that, the finish is how that tastes when you first sip it with high rye spice that you get on a normal bourbon finish. So yeah, so it's a weird finish on it because the way I view Irish whiskey is it's a nice, almost like a palate cleansing drink. It's got a lot of the pear and apple and all those really refreshing notes. And so you get that, and then it just quickly follows with the spicy, peppery notes and rye notes of a bourbon, which is great. A lot of people don't know about barrels, so sometimes it just sits and the store owners are stuck with it. You might be able to work out a cool deal with them and everything like that. But you should be looking to pay anywhere from 80 to 90 bucks for the bottle. They come out with a new batch when it seems like every 3 months or so. Chuck is buying a new bottle, which is again great for us and everything like that. So as far as the nose goes, what are we thinking?
I went 4.
4.
This,
Brian's already got the 4. It's the easiest of the batches. It's 4 across the board. As far as the palate, I'm gonna go 4 again. Like it's got a really good palate. It's delicious. It's complex. I really enjoy it. Palate.
Going to the palate, I'm at a 4. Great flavors on the palate. Again, the fruit flavors come through. Everything TJ said earlier, solid 4.
Yeah, no, I'm a 4 for palate. I thought we'd already answered this. I don't know.
All right, Chuck, where are we on the finish?
Let's just keep the 4 train rolling. I'm at a 4. I think it lingers delightfully. There's enough spice there, not overpowering rye spice. I know that Brian loves, but those of us that like to experience a little bit more in our bourbons don't necessarily love that overpowering rye spice. And so, yeah, the fruit notes carry forward throughout, and it's quite pleasant. 4.
I just want to say I'm also a 4 on this, sir, and I'm offended that you
regularly
profiling.
make judgments for us. I feel like nobody else is going to agree with me on this one, and it's like we haven't even given our opinion yet. It's like
I am offended that you have categorized my finishing taste to only pepper, rye, whatever else, and you've like profiled me into that, sir. And I'm offended by that. I can appreciate things outside of a strong pepper forward, cinnamon forward finish. And I'm at a 4 on this for its subtleties,
and because I don't want to be known as a single note, Brian.
I don't even know what you're saying anymore. Okay, I've just tuned you out.
All right, so the final evaluation: are you gonna buy it? You gonna hunt it?
You didn't tell us what your finish was.
Oh, I said 4. I thought. Yeah. 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Right. Can't hear anything.
So,
it might. You might have not heard TJ because it was that box that you were putting me in, and then just sealing the lid so hard that like you didn't hear him talk. You just slammed the lid shut on the little box you put me in.
This is, as we talked about a little bit ago, this is not a safe place. So
I would say, and
sorry,
as
Brian.
we talked about in the intro of multiple videos, you wouldn't have a little box. I would have the little box. You'd have a big boy box.
So true. How did we miss the short joke?
The final evaluation, I'm going to say this is the first barrel bourbon.
Yes.
I would actually say you should go out and buy it.
Oh, man.
The only thing holding me back from buying this myself is I want to try that batch 29 first to see if that is even better than the 28.
It always could be better.
But I do know a store that has both batch 28 and 29 on the shelf right now. So I might be going and picking up a batch 28 tomorrow. It is that good. Definitely, if you really want to get into barrel and you want to see probably some of the best stuff they've done, I think 28's it. It's one of the top of the creme de la creme. So that's my review on it.
I am actually right there with TJ. If you watch the previous video, like I only buy that $90 plus bottle a couple times a year. This, I think for this year could be one of them for sure. It's that good. This is as close to a buy as I've gotten on any of the barrel products. Absolutely phenomenal. You're gonna spend $90 on this and be very happy with that and not regret that purchase in the least. So definitely a buy, or better yet, convince a friend to buy it. If you
and send you a sample.
Yeah.
And speaking of that friend, Chuck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here I am. Yeah, I'm gonna buy. This is probably my favorite since batch 24. I have not tasted those two side by side yet, despite the fact that this bottle is halfway gone. I had that realization a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this, and this the newest of the batches. Well, before TJ got to my batch 29, but the newest of the batches, and I'm going through this quite quickly. So that tells you how much I've been enjoying it. Yeah, definitely buy.
So let me ask then, Chuck, is this backup bottle worthy for you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Let me taste 29 and then I'll let you know.
Okay. But I feel like that in and of itself, tells you something too. Like the fact you're like, hey, I know every so often a new barrel's coming out that I want to get, and you're actually contemplating, this is the barrel I want a backup of. Because what barrels do you have a backup of?
Batch 21. That's it.
Yeah, one of them. So the fact you're considering a backup here, I think, speaks to the quality of this particular one.
So with that being said, hit like, hit comment, hit subscribe. Actually, let us know in the comments below, should Chuck buy a backup bottle of 28 and then at the end of the year send a sample to all our Patreon members? I think that would be a great idea. Because he would do it. That's the type of guy he is. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Stay neat.
I just love when you make Chuck do stuff. Power bourbon.